It was one of those gray, rainy afternoons that felt heavier than usual, the kind of day where everything seems slowed down and your thoughts echo louder than they should. Emily sat by the window, staring at the droplets racing each other down the glass, when a soft knock at the door pulled her from her reverie. "Come in," she called, her voice quieter than she intended. The door opened, and in bounded little Liam, her 6-year-old nephew, with his usual chaotic energy. Rain had plastered his hair to his forehead, and his tiny sneakers squeaked against the wooden floor. He looked at her, wide-eyed, and offered a small, shy smile. Something about that smile melted a part of her heart she didn't realize had been frozen by months of stress and quiet loneliness. "Hi, Aunt Emily. Can I come in?" he asked, holding out a soggy piece of paper. Emily nodded, motioning him over. "Of course, honey. What's that you've got there?" Liam hesitated, and then, with the seriousness only a child could muster, he handed her the paper. Emily unfolded it and found a clumsy drawing of a sun wearing sunglasses, standing next to what appeared to be her. Written in large, wobbly letters were the words, "You make me smile every day." She blinked, unsure if she should laugh or cry first. The simplicity, the pure innocence of it, tugged at her heart in a way no adult conversation could. "Did you draw this for me?" she asked softly, brushing a damp strand of hair from her forehead. Liam nodded vigorously. "I wanted you to feel happy today, because you looked sad," he admitted, a tiny quiver in his voice betraying his worry. Emily pulled him into a gentle hug, feeling the warmth of his small body against hers. "Thank you, sweetheart. This is beautiful. You've made me feel a whole lot better." For the first time that day, the gray sky outside seemed a little less oppressive. She realized how much she had underestimated the impact of small gestures. In a world that often demanded grand displays, sometimes all it took was the honesty of a child's love to change everything. Liam, noticing the change in her demeanor, beamed. "I can do more if you want. I'm really good at making people happy." Emily laughed softly, a sound that felt foreign and yet familiar. "I think one small gesture like this might be enough for today, but I'll keep that in mind," she said, ruffling his damp hair. They spent the next hour together, drawing, laughing, and listening to the rain. Emily noticed how the simple act of being present with Liam began to lift a weight she hadn't realized she was carrying. She thought about the months of endless work, the quiet dinners alone, the loneliness she often ignored. But right now, none of that mattered. Right now, she had this tiny human reminding her of life's small joys. As the afternoon wore on, Liam's boundless energy began to wane, and he curled up next to her on the couch with a plush toy, exhausted but content. Emily watched him sleep, the soft rise and fall of his chest, a reminder that sometimes love doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be genuine. She knew deep down that today had changed something in her, not in a loud, obvious way, but quietly inside her heart. Liam's small gesture, his drawing, his honesty, his care, had reminded her of something vital, that happiness could come in the smallest of packages, and sometimes all it took was noticing it to feel it fully. If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. As the rain continued to patter against the window, Emily's thoughts wandered to what tomorrow might bring. She had a feeling that Liam had more surprises up his sleeve, gestures that could touch her heart in ways she hadn't imagined, and a soft, thrilling anticipation filled her chest, one she couldn't quite name. Would little Liam's next surprise be just as heartwarming, or would it reveal something deeper about their bond? Emily didn't know yet, but she felt a flutter of hope that made her pulse quicken. The next morning, the sun peeked cautiously through gray clouds, and Emily felt a sense of lightness she hadn't felt in weeks. Liam, as always, was the first one in the kitchen, bouncing on his heels with an excitement that seemed impossible for someone so small. "Good morning, Aunt Emily," he chirped, holding a crumpled envelope behind his back. Emily smiled, intrigued. "Good morning, Liam." What do you have there? Liam hesitated, eyes shining with a mix of pride and mischief. It's a secret, but it's for you. Emily raised an eyebrow but played along, reaching for the envelope. Inside, she found another drawing, this one more elaborate than yesterday's. It showed a large heart, surrounded by tiny stars, with the words, "You make every day brighter." Beneath the heart, in tiny, careful letters, Liam had written, "Promise to smile more with me?" Emily felt a lump rise in her throat. A 6-year-old was asking her to promise to be happier, simply because he wanted her to enjoy life more. It was almost too tender to believe. "I promise, Liam," she said softly, tucking the envelope into her pocket. "I'll try my very best." His grin widened, and he jumped into her arms, hugging her tightly. "Yay! I knew you would." The day unfolded with a strange, magical ease. Emily found herself paying attention to the small things she normally overlooked: the warmth of sunlight on the kitchen table, the sound of birds chirping outside, even the quiet hum of the refrigerator. With Liam by her side, every moment felt more alive, more vivid, more precious. After breakfast, they decided to take a short walk to the park, a rare outing for Emily. Liam ran ahead, calling back, "Come on, Aunt Emily, the swings are waiting." As they approached the swings, Emily noticed something that made her pause. A small, elderly woman was struggling to carry her groceries across the wet path. Without a second thought, Liam ran over to help, taking one of the bags in his tiny hands. Emily followed, silently moved by his instinct to care for others. The woman smiled warmly at him. "Thank you, little one. You're very kind." Liam's face lit up like the sun in his drawings. "I'm helping because Aunt Emily taught me to be nice." Emily felt a warm blush creep over her cheeks. It wasn't a lesson she had actively taught. She hadn't realized she'd been setting an example simply by being herself. Yet here he was, embodying the goodness she had been quietly nurturing in him all along. They spent the afternoon at the park, swinging, running, and laughing, and Emily noticed a shift in herself she hadn't anticipated. She felt lighter, freer, more connected to the world. Liam's small gestures, the drawings, the words, the care he showed to strangers, were slowly unwrapping layers of sadness and worry she had been carrying for months. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the wet grass, Emily and Liam sat on a bench, catching their breath. Liam leaned against her, his small hand clutching hers. "Aunt Emily, do you think everyone can be happy if they just do little nice things?" he asked innocently. Emily looked down at him, her heart swelling. "I think you might be right, Liam. Little gestures can make a big difference, especially when they come from someone who truly cares." He nodded solemnly, as if weighing her words. Then, in a rare moment of quiet, he handed her a small, folded note. Emily opened it and found only a single line: "Tomorrow will be even better." Emily's eyes softened. She didn't know exactly what Liam had planned, but the anticipation made her heart skip a beat. There was something in his quiet confidence, his simple faith and goodness, that made her feel hope again. Real, tangible hope. As they walked home, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that Liam's small acts were more than just gestures. They were lessons. They were invitations to feel, to hope, and to connect. And she knew that whatever awaited tomorrow, it would change them both in ways they hadn't yet imagined. Would his next gesture be just another sweet drawing, or something even more touching, something that would truly open Emily's heart in a way nothing else could? The thought lingered as the wind carried the faint scent of rain and blooming flowers, leaving her in quiet, tender anticipation. The next morning arrived with a soft, golden glow, like the world itself had taken a deep breath overnight. Emily woke up feeling lighter, her heart still buzzing from the small miracles of the previous day. She glanced at the kitchen table and found Liam already sitting there, coloring furiously, his tongue poking out in concentration. "Good morning, little artist," she said with a warm smile. Liam looked up and beamed. "Good morning, Aunt Emily. I made something really special for you." He slid a folded piece of construction paper across the table. Emily picked it up and carefully unfolded it. Inside was a pop-up card, colorful and meticulously detailed, with a little paper heart that stood upright. On it, Liam had written, "You're my sunshine, even on cloudy days." Emily felt a lump rise in her throat. It was astonishing how something so small, created by tiny hands with pure intentions, could carry such weight. She wanted to tell him how much it meant, but words felt insufficient. "Thank you, Liam. This is beautiful," she whispered, holding the card to her chest. Liam leaned back in his chair, proud. "I knew you'd like it. I worked really hard." The day passed slowly but gently, filled with small moments of connection. Emily noticed how Liam's energy seemed to lift her in ways she had almost forgotten. He laughed with abandon at the simplest jokes, ran with reckless joy through puddles, and made up stories that dragged her along into imaginary worlds. Around mid-afternoon, Emily decided to take him to the little bakery down the street, one they hadn't visited in months. Liam's eyes sparkled as the aroma of fresh bread and sweet pastries filled the air. "I want a chocolate croissant and a cinnamon roll," he declared with authority. Emily chuckled. "One of each sounds perfect." As they sat by the window, sharing their treats, Liam suddenly grew quiet, staring out at the street. Emily followed his gaze and noticed an elderly man sitting on a bench, shivering in the cold wind, his hat pulled low over his eyes. Without hesitation, Liam pointed toward him. "Look, Aunt Emily, that man looks like he needs a smile." Before she could respond, Liam had jumped down from the chair and trotted toward the man. Emily quickly followed, heart racing but filled with admiration. Liam handed the man his cinnamon roll, the gesture pure and unforced. The elderly man looked up, eyes wide with surprise. "Thank you, young man," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "You're welcome," Liam said cheerfully. "My Aunt Emily taught me to share smiles." Emily knelt beside him, a mixture of pride and emotion swelling in her chest. She realized with a quiet awe that Liam had an extraordinary ability to notice what others needed, to act without hesitation, to give without expecting anything in return. And in doing so, he reminded her of a truth she had almost forgotten. Happiness grows when shared. They walked home in silence, the city's noises softened by the rain that had returned, turning the streets into glistening ribbons of silver. Emily found herself reflecting on Liam's small but powerful gestures. They weren't just acts of kindness, they were windows into the kind of person he was becoming. That evening, Liam climbed onto the couch next to Emily, holding her hand as if he had always known that connection was the most comforting thing in the world. "Aunt Emily," he said softly, "tomorrow I have another surprise for you. It's the best one yet." Emily's heart skipped a beat. She couldn't imagine what he had in store, but she trusted him completely. His surprises weren't just about drawings or treats. They were little pieces of magic, moments that brought the world into sharper, warmer focus. As she tucked him into bed later that night, she watched his eyes flutter shut, his small chest rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. She whispered softly, "You have no idea how much you've changed my heart today, Liam." And as she turned off the light and left the room, she felt a quiet excitement building in her chest. Liam's next gesture promised to be even more special, more moving, and somehow she already knew it would touch her in a way she hadn't yet experienced. Would this next surprise be just another sweet act, or something that would truly make her heart swell beyond words? Emily didn't know, but anticipation curled warmly in her chest, a soft, thrilling feeling she hadn't felt in a long time. The next morning, the sun streamed through the curtains like a gentle invitation. Emily woke with a sense of quiet anticipation, her thoughts still lingering on Liam's promise of a best surprise yet. She smiled at the memory of his little gestures, the drawings, the acts of kindness, the infectious laughter, and felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the sunlight. Liam, as usual, was already up and waiting. His eyes sparkled as he held a small, colorful box behind his back. "Aunt Emily, today's surprise is the best one ever." Emily chuckled, curiosity bubbling in her chest. "All right, Liam, I'm ready. Show me." With careful hands, he handed her the box. Emily opened it and found a collection of tiny, hand-painted stones. Each one was painted with a bright color or pattern, and on each stone was a single word: love, joy, hope, smile, brave. "I made these for you," Liam said, his voice soft but earnest. "Whenever you feel sad or tired, you can hold one and remember something happy." Emily felt tears prick her eyes. The thoughtfulness behind such a simple gesture, crafted entirely by him, with intention and love, hit her harder than she could have imagined. These weren't just painted stones. They were reminders of life's small treasures, of hope, of love, and of connection. "Oh, Liam," she whispered, pulling him into a tight hug. "This is incredible. I can't believe you made all of these for me." "I wanted to," he said, resting his chin on her shoulder. "Because you make me happy every day, Aunt Emily. I wanted you to feel the same." Emily felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She realized how rare and precious it was to encounter someone who gave so freely, who saw the world through a lens of love and care. Liam's gestures weren't grand, but they carried an authenticity that no adult effort could ever match. They spent the morning arranging the stones in a little display on the windowsill, catching the sunlight. Emily noticed how even the simplest act, placing those stones side by side, transformed the room. Colors gleamed, patterns shimmered, and for the first time in months, her heart felt completely open. Later that afternoon, they went for a walk through their neighborhood, Liam skipping ahead but glancing back frequently to make sure Emily was keeping up. His attention to the little joys, the way a bird perched on a fence, the soft rustle of leaves in the wind, reminded her how easy it was to overlook the beauty in everyday life. "See that, Aunt Emily?" he said, pointing to a small puddle reflecting the golden sky. "Even little things can be magical if you look closely." Emily knelt down beside him, staring at the reflection. "You're right, Liam. I never noticed it like this before. Thank you for showing me." As they returned home, Emily felt a quiet shift inside her. Liam's small gestures had begun to awaken something she had almost forgotten, a childlike wonder, a sense of hope, and the gentle understanding that love doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as a hand-painted stone, a heartfelt drawing, or a chocolate croissant shared with someone in need. That evening, as they settled on the couch, Liam handed her one more surprise, a small handwritten note. Emily unfolded it and read, "The best moments are the ones we share. I love you, Aunt Emily." Her heart swelled in ways words that can never capture. She realized fully and completely that Liam had given her something far more precious than stones or drawings. He had given her a reminder of what it meant to feel fully, to hope fully, and to love without hesitation. As she tucked him into bed later, she brushed a strand of hair from his forehead and whispered, "You've changed my heart in ways I can't even explain, Liam." Liam smiled sleepily. "I knew I could." Emily left his room with a gentle smile, carrying a feeling she hadn't felt in a long time, that life's simplest gestures could hold the deepest meaning. And she sensed that tomorrow, Liam's small hands might offer one final surprise, something that would etch itself into her heart forever. What could Liam have planned next? Emily couldn't imagine, yet a quiet thrill of anticipation coursed through her. She knew in her heart that whatever awaited, it would be unforgettable. The morning sun spilled through the curtains in a warm golden glow. Emily woke with a flutter of excitement she hadn't felt in years. Today, she knew, would be the day Liam's final surprise would reveal itself. She could already feel the magic of anticipation humming through her chest. Liam bounded into the kitchen, clutching a small wrapped package. "Aunt Emily, today is the best surprise yet. Are you ready?" Emily laughed, her heart already racing. "I think I'm ready, Liam. Show me." He handed her the package, eyes wide with expectation. Emily carefully unwrapped it and found a tiny scrapbook, hand-decorated with bright colors, stickers, and glitter. As she opened it, pages filled with drawings, notes, and little mementos fell into place, each one a memory they had shared together. The rainy afternoon with the first drawing,
the chocolate croissant at the bakery, the hand-painted stones, even small snapshots of their walks in the park. Tucked between the pages was a handwritten note in Liam's wobbly letters. "Thank you for being my sunshine. I love you, Aunt Emily. Let's always find joy together." Emily's hands trembled as she held the scrapbook close. She had expected sweetness, maybe laughter, but not this. Not the depth of love and thoughtfulness packed into such small hands and a 6-year-old's heart. Liam climbed onto her lap, resting his head against her shoulder. "I wanted you to see everything we've done together. That way, even when I'm not around, you'll remember how much happiness we shared." Emily hugged him tightly, feeling tears streak down her cheeks. "Oh, Liam, you've given me more than you could ever imagine. You've shown me how to see the beauty in life again, how to notice the small joys, how to love fully. You've changed me, sweetheart." Liam's small hand squeezed hers. "I'm happy I could."
They spent the rest of the morning flipping through the scrapbook together, laughing at silly drawings and marveling at little details Liam had included. Every page was a testament to a bond that went far deeper than age or words could explain. Emily realized that the true gift wasn't just the scrapbook. It was the thoughtfulness, the love, and the care that went into every small gesture he had made along the way. As the afternoon light grew softer, Emily looked down at Liam, who was dozing in her arms, exhausted from excitement. She felt a quiet awe at the way such a small human could hold such a powerful ability to touch hearts, not just hers, but anyone who noticed the world through his eyes. In that moment, she understood a truth she had almost forgotten. Life's most profound moments often come in the simplest forms. A hug, a drawing, a kind word, or a shared smile could create memories that lingered far longer than grand gestures ever could. Emily whispered softly, brushing his hair from his forehead. "You've made my heart so full today, Liam. I'll treasure this forever." And as she watched him sleep, peaceful and content, Emily felt a deep sense of gratitude. The day had started like any other, gray and ordinary, but thanks to one small, tender gesture after another, it had transformed into something extraordinary, something magical, something unforgettable. It was a reminder that love, kindness, and care don't need to be loud or complicated. They just need to be genuine. And in Liam's small, innocent ways, he had shown her the purest form of all. Emily smiled, knowing that no matter what the future held, she would always carry this day and the love within it in her heart. And in the quiet warmth of the evening, she realized she had learned the most beautiful lesson of all. Sometimes, the smallest gestures can leave the biggest mark. As she held Liam close, Emily whispered, "Thank you, my little sunshine. You've melted my heart completely." And with that, the gray clouds of the past were gone, replaced by a horizon full of color, warmth, and endless possibilities.